There's nothing like snook hook sets at dawn or catching a tarpon in the moonlight. Find your next fishing trip made easy on fishingbooker.com and experience the magic of the Sunshine State or any other destination on your fishing bucket list. Book a blue water adventure in search of sailfish or go snapper fishing with the kids. With over 6,000 captains and trips to choose from, planning your next one just got a whole lot easier. Download the Fishing Booker app on the Google Play or App Store or visit them online at fishingbooker.com to book your trip today.
Maui Nui is on a mission to help balance axis deer populations for the good of our environment, communities, and food systems on the island of Maui. They've shared over 126,000 pounds of nutrient-dense protein with the Maui community. Secure your spot now. Become a snack subscriber and join in helping to build more resilient food and ecosystems on Maui. Visit MauiNuiVenison.com. That's MAUI venison.com and use promo code BEAR for 20% off your first order.
I'm sure a lot of you guys remember the old ceremonial hunting tradition of eating the heart out of the first animal you kill. Meat from those organs are among the most nutrient-rich foods on the planet. You can get those same benefits your ancestors craved via convenient daily capsules from Heart and Soil. Find out more at heartandsoil.co. And remember, use code MeatEater for 10% off your purchase.
My name is Clay Newcomb, and this is a production of the Bear Grease podcast called The Bear Grease Render, where we render down, dive deeper, and look behind the scenes of the actual Bear Grease podcast. Presented by FHF Gear, American-made, purpose-built hunting and fishing gear that's designed to be as rugged as the places we explore. The only rules on this podcast are there are no rules.
There's a few rules. You'll find them out as we go.
Number one, do not interrupt Misty.
Oh, yes.
That's a good one.
Yes. I like how you waited till she was done speaking, too.
Yeah. That was really nice, Austin. That was really nice.
In your last episode, you did talk about people who respect their wives. So
yes.
Makes sense.
Oh, I'm
Mad respect.
glad you brought that up so quickly. Misty.
Would you like me to speak to that?
No, I'm not asking for you to give account of that.
I'm just kidding.
Great.
Build Misty a fire.
I like
I'm
headquarters.
good. I've got my flannel.
Do you get cold, Misty?
Very.
Really?
Yes, very much so.
So that negative temperature last week was not good on your garden or you.
It wasn't, but they built me a fire. This is not a joke. We have a wood-burning stove, and I get so close to it that I have marks on my back.
You're kidding.
And I'm like, I'm good. I feel fine. And the girls are like, could you step away?
This is a fire
good.
hazard.
The Nomex nightgown.
Mm-hmm.
What?
A Nomex nightgown.
I don't get that joke.
It's fireproof.
No, but there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Nomex.
Yeah.
Okay.
Excuse my friend. He's from Raydell.
Yes. Okay, here's what we're going to do. I want you to introduce the person to your left.
Right now?
And Kaylee?
I feel like I just got set
one
up.
one of these people doesn't even know the person to their left. But you're going to have to introduce them just with what you know about them.
Okay.
So we have
me
a
to kick it off?
very, very exciting group of people here today, everyone, to follow up on our Duck Stories podcast. To my left is Brent Reeves wearing a fine pair of roundhouse overalls.
Yep.
Looking good today, Brent.
Always. Ain't
I was
never been
talking to
nothing
a
wrong
guy.
with my
I was
looks.
talking to a guy the other day, an old man from Clarendon, Arkansas.
Yep.
And when I got off the phone with him, he said, Clay, you sound great. I hope you have a great holiday. And it was like old school, like it made me feel so good. I was like, I sound great. He told me I sounded great. Brent, you sound great, buddy.
Thank you, man.
Who's to your left?
To my immediate left is Austin Booth. I don't know what number.
What does he do?
I don't know what number he is on your program, but he ought to be number one in your heart.
Wow.
What do you think?
Austin got
Pretty
set
good?
up with
That was
the
deep.
You got to give
That
us a
was
little more
nice.
functional introduction than
And
that.
Austin happens to be the director of the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission. He is you don't say ex, I know you say former Marine officer.
That's right.
He's paddling the boat over there at the Game and Fish.
Yes,
Lots
he's
of
our
good folks.
distinguished guest.
Absolutely.
Distinguished guest, the
I don't know
director of
about
the Game and Fish.
He's got on a pair of newish
Yeah,
Danners,
how about we describe what
Yeah.
everyone's wearing?
a newish Danners, some
Danners. I got them a year ago.
some khaki.
Wow, you keep
You know
them in
what?
good
They
shape.
were new. They were
Yeah.
new on the first render that you came up here on.
That's right.
I remember. I saw.
Those
I looked
must
at,
be your church boots.
I looked at my
Because they
notes.
don't look like they've been beat around too much.
Well,
He keeps them.
I
real
just take
nice.
really good care of them.
Marine care.
That's right. You take care of your feet, and they'll take care of you.
There you go.
There we go.
A brown T-shirt with duck calls on it. It says "Call a Palooza." Assuming you got that
At Callpalooza.
from the Call a Palooza event, and wearing a vintage Ducks Unlimited cap.
Great. Great to have you, Director Booth.
Always good to be here, Clay.
Yes. How about you introduce the person to your left?
On my left is a guest far more distinguished than me, one of our commissioners on the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission, and Marie Doramus, lifelong outdoorsman, avid waterfowler, avid bass angler,
Gadwall killer.
gadwall
Love
killer.
the gadwall.
Yeah.
Love it. Amateur duck hunter.
She is wearing a really striking set of footwear. It's vintage camo,
Jelly.
Christmas Crocs,
Christmas Crocs.
Yep.
currently in two-wheel drive mode.
Yes. Yes.
And the vintage camo pattern of the Crocs are somewhat similar, but not identical to the vintage camo flannel shirt she's wearing.
I like
Anne Marie,
this.
it's great to have you here.
Glad to be here, Clay and Misty. Thanks for having
Yeah,
us.
we're so happy you're here.
Yes. So you were on the render last year about this time.
Yeah, about a year ago. That was after
Yeah.
I introduced you to the great migratory bird that is
Yes.
a gadwall.
That's right. That's right.
And I was greeted by your trusty squirrel dog, Tim the squirrel dog.
Mm-hmm.
Who,
Yeah, he was down there with us last year.
Yeah, who I had a great time with.
We hunted with Anne Marie and her bunch for a week, 5 days, 5 days last year. It was my largest exposure to duck hunting, like continued exposure.
And you got to meet my friend named Possum.
Yes,
It's a big deal.
great guy.
Misty, you missed out.
I feel like I did.
You were invited, FYI.
Whoa. Did I know I was
I mean,
invited?
Remember about wife appreciation, Clay?
Anne Marie, we'll get back to that.
And to your left,
Great to have you. Thank you for being here, Anne Marie.
You
Why don't
bet.
you introduce us to another very distinguished guest to your left?
Definitely, in my opinion, the most distinguished guest because she is an Olympian.
Wow.
And her name is Kayle Browning. Went and competed on behalf of the United States of America in the Olympics and won a silver medal in trap shooting. And besides being an excellent shot, she's an excellent all-around duck hunter. I can say I've been out duck hunting with her, and well, it was more of a goose hunt that ended up turning into a duck hunt.
That's true. Yeah.
The geese weren't really cooperating that morning. But yeah, we have Kayle here, and she is a shooting coach and my shooting coach, and she has
Really?
helped me so much. Yes, I thought that I could handle a shotgun. Then I went to see her and her dad, and I quickly realized, wow, I wish I had done this years ago. She helped me a ton.
Man, that's a good intro.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is great.
Man, thanks for being here, Kayle.
She's hyping me up. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Well, there's 1,000 questions I want to ask you. We'll do that after you introduce who's to your left.
Wait, I get to describe what she's wearing, right?
Oh, yeah.
Y'all.
My bad.
Clay,
We're
don't interrupt them.
Yeah. What are you thinking,
That was
man?
rule number one.
Sorry, guys.
Jeez. All right. So old school Nike tennis shoes, which I love. Camo vest with a green shirt. Lick and fly.
Yeah. I'm
Speaking
here
of
for
fly, she's also a pilot.
True.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes. Very true.
It's a shame you couldn't fly up here today. The weather's
I know,
looking
the
kind of
weather,
iffy.
Yeah. It didn't work out, but we will next time.
Yes.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. So to my left is Misty, which I think wears, is the leader here from what I'm gathering.
Yes. That's right. That's right.
In my short amount of time that I've met her, probably 20 minutes now, I've gathered she is a chicken farmer, which we have in common.
Way to go.
She has a green thumb, has a pretty mean garden, I hear. and can cook a mean biscuit.
All right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Excellent.
Homemade
Yeah.
biscuits.
Great.
She is wearing her chicken boots with a striped shirt and a cozy flannel for today.
Yes. Excellent.
Very good intro.
Great to
Very
have you
good
here, Ms.
intro. Do I get
Nailed
to
it.
introduce you?
Yeah,
No,
I can't wait.
you don't
for
get to
this.
introduce
Oh, God.
They know who I am.
Everybody wants to hear.
No. So, Kayle,
You wasn't kidding.
you're an Olympian. Give us a. You could probably talk for an hour. A quick version of like your career in
Sure.
shooting, and just kind of just tell us a little bit
Sure.
about your story.
So I am daddy's little girl. He says that I'm the son he never had. So I grew up fishing and hunting with him and shooting shotguns. And he was a competitive shotgun shooter, so that's how I got into it. When I was 8 years old, I competed in my first competition in Sporting Clays, which is like a hunted simulated game, and went to a shoot, fell in love with it. And from there, when I was 15 years old, actually 14 years old, I found out that shooting was in the Olympics. So I told my dad, I was like, oh my gosh, shooting's in the Olympics. Like, we have to try, because I've just been obsessed with the Olympics since I was tiny. And he was like, all right, well, let's give it a go. So made my first team at 15, traveled to Munich, Germany. It was just a whole culture shock. I remember.
So you qualify. I mean, qualifying for the Olympics is a big deal, though.
It is, yeah. So in between the Olympics, we have.
I mean, I hear. I don't know. I mean,
yeah, it's small thing. In between the Olympics, we have World Cups in the quad before. So that's the first team that I made, was a World Cup team. So went to Munich, Germany, and I remember going to this restaurant and I asked for sweet tea, because that's what I grew up. You know, I thought everybody
very
drank
reasonable
yeah,
thing to ask.
I thought everybody drank sweet tea. And the lady, there was, the communication barrier there that wasn't translating well, and she brought back some sugar cubes and hot black tea, and she was like, here you go. And I was like, well, I guess, and can I have a cup of ice? Like, so I made my own sweet tea. Yeah. So made that team when I was 15, and since then I've set national records, world records. I just became the most decorated woman for trap in U.S. history.
Really?
And
Girl, all
then
right.
amazing.
Yeah.
And then
Wow. Very
2020 went to Tokyo, competed at the Olympics, and won a silver medal. So
Sweet.
Wow, that's incredible. And so you're from. Tell us where you're from.
I am from a small town called Wooster, Arkansas, which is like 45 minutes north of Little Rock.
Okay.
Doing
Worcester,
Arkansas
Arkansas.
proud.
Yeah.
Way to go.
In America.
That's
Way to
incredible.
go.
Thanks.
So now I heard an interesting story about how your dad got into competitive shooting. Will you tell me that story? Do you know what story I'm talking about?
I'm not
can you
sure
read
which
his
one
mind?
The
you're.
very first time he shot competitively.
So I've heard a story of him. Some guy invited him to go to a shoot, and
Austin's story's better.
probably so. Let's hear Austin's version. I'm sure it was.
Well,
Man.
yeah, this is Worcester folklore.
Okay.
But the story that I was told was that Kaylee's dad was on a job out of state, and I think it was in Oklahoma, and was just running down the highway somewhere and saw all these signs for this shooting event, and didn't know anything about it. Had a shotgun in his truck. He dropped in and said, "Hey, what's the shooting event that y'all have?" And they said, "Oh, this is a trap competition we have this weekend. It's a national qualifier, but it's also open to the public." So the story that I was told was that he paid the fee to compete, just somebody off the street, and that he ended up coming in second place. His first event ever.
Yeah. So
This lines up.
So he actually a couple years before that got invited to go to a sporting clay shoot and had no idea what it was, and he's like, I don't know what that is. So he kind of like blew it off and went to that shoot. I think it was in Oklahoma. Anyway, he's a welder. He owns a fabrication shop, so they used to travel all the time to go to different job sites. And anyway, yeah. So he's the best shot. I think Anne-Marie can attest to this too.
Tommy B
He's
is pretty
the best
good.
shot.
So the story was that he just had his like hunting shotgun and went and competed and beat all these like pro shooters.
Pretty much, yeah. And I think it was a trap shoot too. And older trap guys tend to have a stereotype about them. They kind of like turn their nose up to you if you're not somebody in there. And he was probably in camo Crocs and like his shorts. Yeah. shooting an old 870 or something.
The nicest man.
You can shoot better than your dad, though.
Since he's not here, I'm going to say yes.
Second.
Okay. I figured you could.
No, I can outshoot him in my game just because I do it so much, but
Yeah.
he can still humble me anytime he wants to.
Okay. How does trap shooting or what you do translate in the field shooting ducks?
So what I shoot comparatively, it's called international trap, and just the short explanation of what that is, it's an underground bunker that has 15 trap machines in it, and they can go anywhere from 45 degrees left to 45 degrees right and up to 3 meters high. So they're just a wide spread of targets coming out. The tricky part about them is you don't know the direction it's going, and it's going about 75 miles an hour. So if you've got a bird, like let's say quail hunting, although no quail aren't quite going 75 miles an hour, but you flush a covey of quail and they get up and they're going any directions. I mean, you've got to be on them pretty quick. So it translates really well into like pigeon shooting or upland hunting or anything like that.
Yeah. So, Anne-Marie, how does she do in the duck blind? She knocking them down?
Pretty dang
Do you remember
good.
that double I hit?
Oh my gosh. Speaking of, I got my first double last Friday.
Nice.
Yeah. I don't want to ruin it because I know we're going to get around telling stories, but just speaking of that, it was a perfect opportunity. But yeah, she knocks him down. And on that note about the bunker trap that you do, I was out at her place and I said, hey, I want to see how this thing works. You know, maybe I'm feeling good enough. I've been hitting some clay targets. Maybe I'll get up there and shoot. She goes, all right, here we go. And I go, did you press the button? She goes, yeah, 2 have come out.
She said, oh, is that the target? I'm like, yes, it is.
So fast.
Yeah, they're super fast.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
It's insane. But yeah,
Nice.
she's a good shot. So I will attest to that. Those ducks don't stand a chance.
Are there any? Is there any shooting competition that would simulate something coming towards you and down?
Yeah, for sure. That's sporting clays. So
Coming toward you?
yeah.
Really?
Sporting clays has
Like
no
a duck is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, it has
Yeah.
no limitation of what the target can do and how it presents itself. So they can come at you, then go over your head, they can cross, they can roll on the ground, they can, I mean, there's no limit at all to what they can do.
Yeah. Austin, how many ducks have you missed this year?
A lot.
Have you really?
Yeah, I had some issues with my gun.
Bent barrel?
Not a bent barrel,
Yeah.
but I had some work done on the forcing cone
That's a really technical answer.
on the shotgun, and then put a third-party choke tube in there, and I was chasing, and I suspected there was something wrong with it, but was also being as self-critical as one should and hesitant to instantly blame it on the weapon. But I had not been able to hit anything. And then I was chasing a cripple down, and it was that morning that it was 3
degrees.
Yeah, it was way too cold to have a dog out there. So we were chasing down a cripple, and I was about 25 yards away from the duck. Very carefully put my weapon up, sensitive to the fact that I had been missing a lot. I pulled the trigger, and the gun patterned about halfway between me and the duck.
Oh, wow.
So called the folks that worked on it. They said, we'll send you a choke, send me brand new choke, and I'm back on the board.
Really?
Yeah.
Man.
So was the choke messed up from the factory?
No, it just didn't interact well with aftermarket modifications to the forcing cone.
How does it?
And it was
I
a
don't
really
understand.
tight choke.
Be honest, is this the choke that I bought you when you were like, hey, while you're at so-and-so, will you pick me up? You're smiling. It is the one.
Yes, it is.
Did you bend it,
She did
Anne-Marie?
that on
Yeah.
purpose.
You sabotaged it.
I don't know. Don't ask me.
Interesting.
So,
okay,
I've missed quite a few, but-
I wasn't trying to rub salt in the wound. I mean,
I'm just going to leave
Start a fight.
right now.
Yeah.
Well, it's just the weirdest thing because every gun's different. And, you can take 100 guns with 100 identical chokes, and you may get 50 different results out of it.
Wow.
So for the
Nice.
ones that you're missing, you have to tell your daughter is picking them up, Rayleigh.
Yes.
Yeah, she went on her first duck hunt this year.
First duck hunt. Yep.
Killed her first duck.
Yeah, I saw
She
that.
did.
Yeah.
I saw that. Hey, I learned something about squirrel hunting 2 days ago when we had a real good squirrel hunt. Is that the further they are away with a shotgun, the better chance you have of hitting them. When they're close, they're tough. We were knocking down some squirrels. We were hunting in the Ozarks, and so there was one time when 3 of us were shooting at the same squirrel, timbering out across a ravine, and we'd ridden up on the mules, and the dogs were treed right across the ravine directly from us. I didn't have a rangefinder, but I really believe it was 50 yards. And when the dogs are treed, we ride up. We're on a deep ravine. You couldn't just get over there real quick. Like, it would probably been 3 or 4 minutes before we could have got over there. Well, when we get there, the squirrel breaks, and when they break and start timbering, they're heading for a hole. And so this is pretty much like the moment that we have. And there's 3 of us on mules, and we all 3 just like come off the saddle, boom, 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 and we killed that squirrel at probably 50 yards. There's no way we would have hit it if it had been like closer. Pattern spread out. So what I'm trying to say, Austin, is that if you'd sky bust these ducks a little more,
right,
you'd have probably had a better chance of killing some.
Well, you were using lead though, weren't you?
Yeah.
Truth comes out.
Yeah.
Hey, I think you need to talk about your squirrel hunt.
I will at some time. I've got really interesting people.
Okay. All right.
Squirrels.
Squirrel-palooza.
You and I went squirrel hunting last year after we went duck hunting. That was an experience. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Is squirrel hunting a thing that you have done before?
No, it isn't, especially with dogs.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting here thinking, have I ever been on a legitimate squirrel hunt? No, I haven't. So that was the first time.
It's a lot of fun, especially when it's good. When it's good hunting. And it was the other day. Yeah, we had a great hunt. Yeah. On public land in Arkansas, state-owned public land.
Amazing.
Beep,
Austin.
Look, we have a conflict of interest here. I want more people to get out on public land.
Well, we did ride 12 miles, and I mean, part of squirrel hunt success is just if you stay out there all day long, you're just going to kill stuff as opposed to going on a small little hunt.
Right.
Hey, I mentioned a state-owned WMA in this episode. Were you happy about that?
I was very happy.
Were you really?
I was also not surprised.
Hey, I had another story on there that they cut out because it was it told too many details.
This is the render,
people,
so
all that you broke,
it's
or
open.
where,
no,
or where you run.
was.
Yeah, all right.
People get upset with me about that kind of stuff. That's the reason I put that disclaimer in the podcast.
All right. Well, you can bleep it out.
And he got. I saw a few on that.
What's that?
About where I was hunting. That story that I told. I saw a few on
that.
Yeah.
People got upset. You saw a few comments.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I tried to discourage. See, I was trying to keep Austin in mind by promoting the WMA, but then I was like, don't come here. I was like, if you want to explore, go somewhere else.
We confirmed we killed every squirrel. There are no more squirrels left.
Yeah. So do you have any questions for Kayle, Miss Newcomb?
Well, I'm just, do you plan on competing again?
So yes, I do. I'm going to try for 2024 again.
Okay.
Awesome.
And is there a point in your sport where people age out of it?
Good question.
That is a really good question. So shooting is as good as your eyes are. There's not really it's not a super athletic sport. So as long as you can see the target, you're pretty competitive. I compete against girls who are in their 50s for sure. So the younger ones definitely have a little advantage there, but there's not really a cap out age like gymnastics or something like that.
Okay.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What about hearing? Shooting as much as you do, even with ear protection, do you think your hearing is compromised in any way?
I'm sure over the years, because I've shot for 21 years now, so just in almost every day, and if it's not competing, I'm hunting or whatever. I'm sure it's taken a toll on that, but technology is so awesome now. I have digital earplugs that like cancel out the shot and just I mean so I wish I would have started on that because they'd probably be a lot better than what they are now, but it's as little as it can be.
Yeah. Man, hearing is a bummer for me. The other day we shot a lot squirrel hunting, and I was wearing just like at the first half of the day I was wearing just standard little squishy earplugs, you know. And man, by the second half of the day I was wearing full earmuffs, like, you know, which is a handful to keep up with when you're shooting quick and not knowing when you're going to shoot.
Yeah.
But man, I came home that night and I couldn't hardly sleep.
He's got, I was going to say, when you asked her if her hearing was impacted, we should probably ask her spouse, because I know for me, I have to sit at a certain spot in a room. So like if we're going to whisper, if we're going to a meeting and we know we're going to whisper.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do have a for real bad ear.
Yeah.
Like,
That's my dad, because I mean he grew up in the generation where you would just go out and hunt. There was no ear protection, so
right.
I joke all the time. He'll say what or huh, and I'm like, good grief, I just can't hear a thing.
Yeah.
I got a question. I got two questions. What's your favorite thing to hunt?
My favorite thing to hunt is ducks.
All right.
And it used to be just purely on killing the ducks, but now it's more of the environment and who I'm with and watching my dogs work.
Oh, sure. That's the age that comes along with
Yeah.
it. So let me ask you this. Would you rather shoot a perfect score on the trap range or get a limit of ducks? Which would be your favorite?
Oof.
Man,
That's a hard
that's
question.
tough.
That's a good
Wow,
question.
they're bringing the heat today.
Well, is the range at the Olympics?
Yeah,
or
what?
is it?
Put this in context. Is this like an important shoot,
No, I
or
think-
is this just like every day?
I think the Olympics would probably trump everything.
Yeah.
But just in a regular competition,
I'm gonna go ducks. Yeah, I'm gonna go ducks all
I
day.
would have thought that.
Yes.
I'm gonna go ducks
Good.
In
So-
Arkansas.
in Arkansas, for sure.
Right on.
Duck hunting in Arkansas.
Hey, so last year we did a 3-part bear grease series on the GTR, the Green Timber Reservoir situation. Can you give us an update
Sure.
on that, Austin?
Yeah.
And fill in people who wouldn't even know what that means, or kind of
Sure.
just a short version of it.
Yeah, so one of the many things that made Arkansas duck hunting what it is and nationally famous is our green tree reservoirs, which are household names around the state, like Biomeda Wildlife Management Area, Hurricane Lake Wildlife Management Area,
We're beeping it out.
Dave Donaldson Black River Wildlife Management Area, Bayou DeView, and they're natural low points. They're all river bottoms that just naturally retain water. And we have put artificial infrastructure up since the 1950s to hold that water there, to not only provide lots and lots of waterfowl habitat, but also public duck hunting opportunity. So you can go in some of these GTRs. I might be going to one tomorrow, and you can hunt public land in the timber. Well, we did not know near as much as we know now about what red oak dormancy looks like. And as it turns out, we were artificially flooding these red oak dominant GTRs for decades, and we were doing it too early. And so you take that combined with the fact that our infrastructure is all 60 to 70 years old, and the fact that we're just seeing larger and more frequent major rain events than we ever have. We have a really, really serious problem in those green tree reservoirs with the forest health. I mean,
So oaks are dying.
yes, oaks are falling over.
Yeah.
And it's not something like a food plot where, all right, if we lose a food plot this year, we'll just replant it next year. Right. I mean, these are 80-year-old red oaks that will take 80 years to get back. So last year, we took a big first step forward in being more proactive with how we manage water levels. I mean, we know exactly what to do on the natural resources side, but conservation always involves natural resources and people. And so we decided to be more proactive with how we're managing water levels on these green tree reservoirs. And we also kicked off some major renovations at Hurricane Lake Wildlife Management Area and Bayou DeView. Hurricane Lake, we finished the first phase on budget and ahead of schedule last year. So in calendar year 22, we were able to pass more water out of Hurricane Lake Wildlife Management Area than we ever have.
So it's draining water off of it.
water,
So it's
just
getting
getting it out.
water
Yeah.
off of the roots of these trees.
Yeah, because what happens is we can get the water off of them, but then once the spring rains hit, it often won't let up until June or July. Mm-hmm. And now it's summertime. These trees have come out of dormancy, and they got standing water on them. And that's what's the tree killer right there. So our goal as we renovate these GTRs is to drain water as quickly as possible. and we completed the first phase at Hurricane and saw really good results from it this year.
Really? So you got some water off?
Yep. We're underway with the second phase. Earl Bus by DeView Wildlife Management here is going really well too. So fingers crossed by the end of calendar year 23, we'll have 2 completed green shoe reservoirs and one more major one launched.
And so and that might not seem like a problem for somebody who didn't understand the system of how this works, but people, you might be like, well, sure, drain the water off the timber, no big deal. What that means is that it's taken away at times of the year duck hunting opportunity, because you got to have flooded timber to have ducks. And so that's where the conflict with people comes in, because all of a sudden there's people that have hunted these places
and had predictable water access on November 15th every single year.
Unnaturally so.
Right.
Induced by humans.
Right.
And now we're saying, hey, we didn't realize that trees are what's the term you used when something
sheet flow?
Well, no, what I was thinking was like a long-term response to something. You used a great term last year. Basically, you can start doing something to a tree today, and you may not know its effect until 50 years from now.
Oh, yeah. That essentially they're lagging consequences.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we're not going to see the consequence of what we did in 2022 until 2024 and 2025.
And that's why it makes it such a complicated and interesting human thing, because there's all these guys that have hunted their whole life. They just thought this was normal. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden there's no water in their duck hole on opening day, and they get mad at, the powers that be. Yeah. And so, that's where education and us just saying, hey, this is what we got to do to save this even for future generations.
Let me ask a question as someone like that would be in that boat. Does it do anything for if the ducks...
Did you listen to the podcast?
I did last year. I did. Does it do anything for is it harmful for the ducks? Because they're predictably coming in?
No.
They just find another place?
They can drown in that timber, I heard.
Well, I'm just wondering, if what we're doing now, the management, do they just...
Nobody laughed.
Do they just go somewhere else?
So there is a piece of that we know that just looking Arkansas-wide, we are already at a shortage of wintering waterfowl habitat. So are we making it, are we compounding that by artificially holding water later and later? I think we are to a degree.
Today.
Yes. Mm-hmm. But, Biomeda is just one wildlife management area, and it's 33,000 acres. So we have to take kind of the longer term approach of, if we lose that 33,000 acre resource, that's what we call anchor habitat that is going to have a dramatic effect on everybody else around it too. So it is very much not just from the perspective of the duck hunters or the red oaks or the ducks, all the way around. It is a short-term sacrifice for a long-term reward.
Right. If Biomeda's not good at it, affects us.
Yep.
Really. So, and going back to this whole big picture thing, the state of Arkansas is 90% privately owned. So I know in all this process, I've heard from a lot of private landowners saying, wow, we've been putting our boards in October. We're starting to see some dieback in our red oak trees too. So maybe this is something that we need to go back and reevaluate. And the message is starting to catch on and get a bigger picture. Yeah. We can't just focus on just our wildlife management areas, but these other ones, but these private lands as well.
Yeah. And one of the things that you said last year, Clay, in that podcast series that I've talked a lot about since, is if you go anywhere in the United States and you find a critter that is treasured, it will thrive. And
because people do
something for it. And from that perspective, I think if you look at the progress that the agencies had the past year, the public meetings we had, I think Arkansans deserve a whole lot of credit, because we ran 4 public meetings on it, and we really haven't stopped talking about it the past 18 months or so. And the feedback from the public's been tremendous.
Yeah.
A
And
lot of participation.
A lot of very interested people that don't like it, but they get it.
Yeah.
And
right.
I think Arkansans deserve a whole lot of credit for understanding the short-term sacrifice that we're going to have to make to keep waterfowl what it is.
As a body of commissioners, too, I mean, hey, this is your first year as directors when we put this through.
Yeah.
And then as a body of commissioners, when, okay, one of our main revenue streams is license sales. Right now, we're trying to get more people into the sport of hunting, but we have this. And, you know, we're not going to have water at some times, but then we are. But we have to look at the big picture and down the road.
Yeah.
And know that our end goal is to make these areas better for our future so that we can retain hunters, have quality waterfowl hunts in the state of Arkansas. So it all goes to the future.
Yeah.
I read
Awesome.
when I was in college, I remember in one of my classes, one of my government classes, we talked about the role of government is really to think 50 years ahead, at least. And that's the part that it gets really tough, because if government is doing its job, it's thinking about not just the current and the things that are happening right now, but thinking 50 years ahead, like how will we have these animals for our grandkids and our great grandkids? But people have to sacrifice now for that to happen, and they have to be willing to pay some costs right now for benefits that they'll never receive. And yeah, that's a societal challenge, but it sounds like Arkansas.
And that's the way that I ended all of our public meetings last year. Where do we want to tell our grandkids what Bimeda was like, or do we want to hear them tell us what it was like?
Yeah, that's good.
You could always listen to the Bear Grease podcast. That's where he's episode, and hear Brent Reeves tell what it used to be like.
Back in my day.
No, that's good. That's a good update. That was that series for me educated me from like zero to understanding what was going on over there. Because it's the problem with all this stuff is there's so many complexities, from biological stuff to human stuff to social stuff to just communication stuff. Like a lot of the problems that not just wildlife managers are facing, but very complex issues, and we want something like easy and quick, and it just doesn't work like that.
That's right.
Ready to win Mother's Day and cement your reputation as the best gift giver in the family? Give the moms in your life an Aura digital picture frame preloaded with decades of family photos. She'll love looking back on these memories and seeing what you're up to today. Even better, with unlimited storage and an easy-to-use app, you can keep updating mom's frame with new photos, so it's the gift that keeps on giving. And this is not a joke. Juju Newcomb has an Aura frame, and we share photos, and they're incredible. Also, my mother-in-law has one. We have them. They truly are really good, really high quality. The Aura frame is easy to set up. It takes just 2 minutes to set up a frame using the Aura app. It also adjusts the display depending on light levels in the room to maintain the true color of your photos. For real, the digital screen is amazing. Right now, Aura has a great deal for Mother's Day. Listeners can save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $30 off plus free shipping on their best-selling frame when you use code BEAR, B-E-A-R, BEAR. That's auraframes.com. Use code BEAR at checkout to save. Terms and conditions apply. Sport Dog is the most recognized brand in the hunting dog training industry. Born in 2003 in Knoxville, Tennessee, Sport Dog was forged by a passionate group of hunters and dog trainers who intimately understood the challenges of the field and the special connection between hunters and their dogs. The people at Sport Dog know that having a well-trained hunting dog is more than just having a reliable partner. It's a commitment to their safety and unlocking their full potential. The Sport Dog promise to customers is simple: gear the way you design it. Every product Sport Dog builds is meticulously designed and rigorously tested in the field, ensuring it withstands the toughest conditions you and your dog may encounter. Trust Sport Dog, where innovation meets passion, to elevate your hunting experience and strengthen the bond with your local companion. Using tracking equipment on my squirrel and coon dogs is extremely important to me, to track my squirrel dogs and my one old coon dog that's not very good. Get 20% off your first purchase using the code BEARGREASE. Go to www.sportdog.com/beargrease to learn more. I've had a Helix Sleep mattress for over 2 years, and it is for sure the nicest mattress that I've ever slept on.
I've slept much better in the last 2 years, been more comfortable than I have for my whole life. And that's true. The Helix lineup offers 20 unique mattresses, including the award-winning Luxe Collection, the newly released Helix Elite Collection, a mattress designed for big and tall sleepers, and even a mattress made just for kids. Take the Helix Sleep Quiz and find your perfect mattress in under 2 minutes, and your personalized mattress is shipped straight to your door free of charge. Helix has several different mattress models to choose from, each designed for specific sleep positions and feel preferences. Helix is offering 20% off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners. Go to helixsleep.com/clay and use the code HelixPartner20. This is their best offer yet and won't last long. With Helix, better sleep starts now. Anne-Marie, have you had a good waterfowl season so far?
I have had a good waterfowl season.
Yeah?
It's been good. Yeah, killed a good deer too this year. Was really
Did you
happy
really?
about that. Yeah.
How big is a good deer?
Well, it was a 9 point. I didn't score it because you weren't there, but
Okay.
I think scored pretty good.
Joe, how big was
it?
Anne-Marie's husband's here.
Yeah, studio audience.
Oh, that's a good deer.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
nice
yeah.
deer.
It is.
Nice,
I was really
nice.
pleased with it.
Nice deer.
Now I did attempt to do some bow hunting. Have yet to harvest one with my bow, but working
Okay.
on that. But back to duck hunting, it's been great. Had
Okay.
some really great hunts where we got our limits. Had some really great hunts where we didn't get our limits. It's all about the fellowship. We talked about that last week. The people that you get to make these memories with.
Yeah. Has the migration in Arkansas been normal? Or, I'm
It was-
amazed at the duck count stuff. I got an email was on an email chain, I think, from one of the waterfowl biologists.
Man, you're a real duck hunter.
Yeah. Oh, I'm big. And
He's on the email
and
chain.
it was talking about duck numbers in the state. Like, has it been pretty normal this year? Good?
Right now, it's really good.
Yeah, we're still
'Cause of
below
the cold.
We're below the long-term average, but I think we're up like double digits from 2018 levels.
Mm-hmm.
It amazes me that you can count ducks with any sense of like it being accurate.
I
Just
still
in the
don't
state.
understand it. They got it down to an art though.
Y'all should
What's
hire
that
me and Brent
algorithm
to do
look
that.
like?
I'm going to go on Thursday.
You're gonna fly with them.
Yep.
So Misty,
Yeah, tell
they
me.
fly. Let me tell you, I know. Okay.
He's on the email chain.
Yeah,
Okay?
Yeah, he's a duck hunter.
That's right. I'm on the email chain. No, they basically fly grids over areas of like predictable duck habitat, and they get an estimation of numbers, just like humans and airplanes, like guessing how many ducks there are, and then they expound the area that they flew, and they go, okay, well, there's 100 times more land than that with equivalent habitat in Arkansas. So they take what they actually saw and multiply it out and get an estimation for how many ducks are here. That was pretty good.
I'll report back.
That was good. Austin's
Was
good
that
at math.
about right?
Check your
Is that
email.
kind of what they do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so is it weekly?
No, we do one in December, one in January, and then I think one after the season closes. Isn't that right?
That is right.
Yep.
Yeah, they do the postseason fallout, which postseason, having that habitat for the ducks too is incredibly important.
Yeah.
When they're coming back.
Well, when they're, headed
or
back
maybe not
north.
coming back, but just they're about to go back.
Yeah. So
Exactly.
it's like a buck right after the rut. Like they got to rest up. They got to put some pounds on because they were flying, with the jet stream coming down, and they're flying into it, going back up.
Oh,
That's a
I'll be
long
doing
way.
it. That's why they need those acorns, man.
That's right.
Man, I hunted in the Delta a couple weeks ago for a week, and I was keyed in on the big acorns.
Yeah,
and
the
then
overcups.
Yeah, there were a lot of them.
Yeah.
And then there was quite a few of the smaller red oaks.
We like those.
That's what we
Yeah.
want.
I was gathering them up and trying to hand feed them to all the mallards in a place that we could. I'm kidding. I wasn't.
The ones in your yard, those are chickens, Clay.
Yeah. Man, I did see some ducks, though. Oh, man, did I see some ducks.
Good.
I really did. It was pretty incredible. Actually, 2 or 3 evenings of bow hunting, we were real close to some water, and it was incredible, man. I mean, mallard ducks. We watched them all day. I mean, we saw. Yeah, there were no deer down there. Not a single deer. But there were a
Before
lot
you
of
went
ducks.
duck hunting, though, before you became a duck hunter
Right.
last year.
Would
you have
before
thought
you got on the email chain?
Yeah, before you got on the email chain. Would you have thought anything of that, really? There's some ducks over there, whatever.
I just wouldn't have. Now, I would have been keyed in enough in the hunting space to value a duck. I mean, just been like, this is probably pretty cool. But without a knowledge base, which I got last year, no. The answer is no. I mean, the ducks were, making all kind of calls. I was thinking about calling. I was watching how they were, like where they would be in the sky, and then where they would land and how they would land. And I was thinking about the wind. And basically, they didn't do anything y'all told me they would. Duck hunters. I'm not sure if they know much about ducks, but. I'm just kidding. No one laughed. I was supposed to get a big laugh.
No,
I
we're
didn't
just shaking
execute
our
the joke
heads.
that
I
well.
thought you were funny, Clay.
Have you duck hunted a lot this year, Kaylee?
Oh yeah. And Aiden, we took him. He's from California. Took him on his first duck hunt, and we went down to Bull Sprig, which is like a really nice hunting club down in Stuttgart, and it's flooded timber, and just like when you think of Arkansas duck hunting, it's like that's the hunt.
Okay.
And I was trying the whole time. I was like trying to explain or put into context to him what this hunt was like. Like you are starting off at the top, and then we're gonna go back home, and I'll humble you a little bit, show you what real duck hunting's like. But no, we've been quite a few times. I really enjoy working my dogs. I've got a dog that's pretty much got
a lab?
college
Black
education.
lab?
I have a black lab, I have a yellow lab, and I have a little English cocker that's pretty fun to duck hunt.
Really?
Yeah.
A retriever that's a Cocker Spaniel.
Yeah, he's
Now, between the
all-purpose.
black and the yellow lab, is the black one better?
So she has more drive, I will say, but she tore her ACL 2 years ago. So she's just, I am hesitant to take her on places I don't know just because she's got to jump off and she's got to climb. I don't know what the setting is for her. But the yellow lab, he's, like I said, he's got college education. He'll call the duck in, go get it, clean it, cook it for you. I mean,
He's good, huh?
He's a good dog. Yeah, he's
Now,
a really good dog.
are the black ones really better?
I don't think so.
I don't know. That's like an old tale, really. From what I've heard, that's like what labs started as, and then the yellows came along, and the yellows have been here for so long. Now they're equivalent to the blacks, and then the chocolates. Just good luck with them because they're still.
So the chocolates are for real not good.
Yeah, and then you've got silvers, and they're just a whole nother.
I don't consider that a real lab.
I don't
though.
either.
Yeah, I
hate
don't
to say-
either.
Sorry, I just don't.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
It's pretty.
We're going that far,
They're
huh?
pretty, but
Well, no, I mean,
Brent
black labs,
is
yellow
zipping
labs,
his lips and
He's
acting
and
like,
chocolate labs. That's the
Yeah.
three.
Hey, you got to be passionate and have an opinion about stuff. I like this. Like, chocolate
But-
labs out.
yeah, I would say chocolates have another 50 years before they're considered on the black and yellow
I
level.
agree.
You straight up asked favorite dog. Like, what?
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
your favorite dog? I want to hear about your favorite squirrel dog.
Oh, well.
Careful.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think it's the other one.
This, I don't
I
even
like
want to get
Tim.
into this. This is too treacherous a territory to be on.
It is
We
around
won't go
here.
there then.
Feist. No, I like a feist. There's lots of dogs that tree a squirrel. There's a ton of different kind of dogs that'll tree a squirrel. I like the little feist just because they're little and fun, and they're very smart. Use their
think-
ears, eyes, and nose.
I think
equally.
everyone needs a feist in their life. That is like my life philosophy now.
Britt, would
They're
you
pretty
say if you
cute.
said a black lab was the way to go?
That's all of mine were always black labs.
Yeah.
I had one chocolate for a month.
A month didn't
Yep.
work out.
He got
That
cut.
was
Hey,
4
you got
weeks
a new
too
black
long.
lab.
I did.
How old is it?
Coop
Just a
is 7
pup,
months.
7 months.
Yeah.
When's he? Is he at the trainer now?
She.
She.
So this is a long story. She's a great dog. She might be at risk for an ACL tear.
Yeah.
So
How can you tell?
I can't tell, but the vets can. And so that's kind of what we're waiting to see. We might let her get a little bit older and
Before you invest a lot in her?
yeah,
Really?
yeah. But she's a great dog.
Now, y'all have a older dog.
Baron.
Baron.
Yeah, black lab. I've always had black labs.
Black ones.
Yep.
You
And
like
one,
the black ones.
I do. They
Now, how old is Baron?
Baron is 6, about to be 7.
Okay.
Is Baron
So-
named after a Baron airplane?
Yes.
That's awesome.
I got my pilot's license back in, I guess it was 2016. So I was like,
I
I'm going to
didn't
name
know
it
that.
Baron. Yeah.
You're a
you've got
pilot,
3
so now we're
current
just-
anymore.
4 pilots sitting here.
Yeah, no kidding,
Wow.
man.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here.
I can-
Are you a pilot?
No.
I was going to say, well, dang.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So
We have a
named
live
him Baron.
studio audience today, too.
We do.
Yeah, Joe Doramus is here. Joe, Hey. And then
better half.
Aiden with you.
Yep.
Aiden, what's your last name? Connor?
Conley.
Conley. Aiden Conley, yeah. Live studio audience.
Pretty
It's really
cool.
great.
Pretty special.
I wish
Joe's
they would encourage us a little more.
Could y'all
Like
give
laugh,
applause here
exaggerated
and there?
laughs.
Yeah, we should have
like
a
Saturday Night Live.
We've not laughed at a couple of Clay's jokes, so if y'all could fill the gaps,
come
I
on.
think that would
help me out, Joe.
He's wearing all his Bear Grease gear.
Yeah, he's got an Acorn shirt on. I like that.
He gets
That's
it.
good. He
It's a
kn- he
vibe.
knew.
Hey, is there a difference between boy and girl dogs? Because you
There
got
is. Yeah.
Okay.
Boy, we got
Yep.
a long talk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of difference.
No,
We'll talk later.
in terms of quality of hunters. Because Clay's best dog, best hound dog has been a girl. You've got a girl.
I've always had boy dogs.
You've had okay. So there's no distinction in terms
There
of
is.
I think there is.
A lot
I
of
think
guys
there
like
is,
females
too.
better than males.
okay.
They pay attention more.
Every
Yeah.
big game hunter or squirrel
Uh-huh.
dog man that I've ever met didn't want a male dog. I mean, in general. Females are.
Because your squirrel dog, the girl, in your opinion, would be better.
We could call. There's lots of different names we could call them other than girl dogs. I prefer female or gyp.
I'll just be honest, Jip does not sound like an upgrade.
I mean,
does not sound like something I'd want to
it's
be
just a
called.
normal
Stop it
name.
right there, too.
It's just normal.
My experience,
That's just
every
a
male
normal
dog I've had has just been so sweet, and if it ain't broke, why fix it?
Okay.
So
Yep.
Right.
Let's talk some duck hunting stories. What was your Austin? What was your favorite story that you heard on the podcast? So we'll now transition into duck hunting stories, and then I want to hear you three your favorite duck story. But from the podcast, like or did anything stand out to you? Did you hear something that was like, yeah, identify with that, or that was cool, or
Yeah, I would say two of the stories were noteworthy in my mind. The first was, is it your friend Scott from Jacksonville?
yeah, Scott Harness?
Yeah. So he mentioned having that super interested friend that wanted to try to duck hunt, and he was very pessimistic about their likelihood for a successful hunt.
It always happens.
And that's kind of the season of duck hunting that I'm in right now, where I care less about going to shoot 4 mallards as I do getting out there with new people, showing them what duck hunting's all about. And one of the best hunts, memory-wise, that I ever had was one of those where I had somebody that said they really wanted to go, and they had been asking me for months about it, and I said, yes, we're going to go. And in the back of my mind, I knew we weren't going to kill a thing, and we did. Yeah. And then the other story that I thought was just fantastic was Brent's talking about Buckingham Flats, and right. And I was talking to somebody the other day that had never duck hunted, what it's like when a big group of mallards comes in. And this is before the podcast came out. And you said it was like rolling out a carpet, Brent.
Yeah.
The analogy that I used was it's like you're standing at the bottom of a staircase and someone rolls out a carpet.
Yeah.
And it just keeps coming.
Yeah.
And keeps coming.
Yeah.
And keeps coming. And the ducks are just like wave after wave getting down. Yeah.
Chill bumps on my arm right now just thinking about it. And I never think about that story that it doesn't happen. It's so weird.
Yeah.
It was
That's how
So
you know
you-
you truly love it.
absolutely, it was not a life-changing event. I mean, it wasn't like seeing my children born or anything, but it was like the least favorite kid. It was like seeing the least favorite kid born. It was right up there.
So you've seen that a couple times.
Yes.
Just had like do you think it was 500 ducks, 1,000 ducks, 200 ducks?
I'd probably say between 350 and 500. It's just between the sheer volume of ducks around you that you feel like you can't even turn your head, and just the awe of it. You almost want to put your gun down.
Oh, I've done it.
And just like take it all in because you know that it's fleeting. And,
Yeah.
and it'll end. Mm-hmm. But yeah.
Cool.
It makes you feel like the first time I saw and heard and looked at an elk bugling in a place and we didn't even kill this elk. It was a huge elk. But it's like, man, I don't know if I'm worthy of being in the presence of watching this take place. It'll make you feel like that. Mm-hmm. It did me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anne-Marie, which of those stories stood out to you? Did you like any of them?
Well, ditto what Austin just said on both of those stories. But I'm going to tell you the one that I was just flabbergasted by. And really, I'm just sitting there counting my blessings thinking, wow, I've never had something that scary
I know what you're
happen to
gonna
me,
say.
knock on wood. But first off, the story about Jimbo
Yeah.
For real.
out there. I mean, and him talking about covering up his face, and he's
Yeah.
afraid to take his hands down because
Yeah.
he's afraid
Yeah.
about what he's going to see. I can't imagine being in that situation. And knowing Jimbo, when he said he just kept his cool, he said, "Hey, we're going to get in the boat, head back to the truck, and go." That I couldn't believe that he held it together to do that, because I think I would have lost my mind. I think anyone I know would have lost their mind if someone
Yeah.
had been shooting at them.
Yeah.
So that really stood out to me. And oh my gosh, the guy in the houseboat who fell off into 20 foot of
Jim
water.
Stinson.
Mr. Stinson.
Yes.
Yeah.
Woo. I mean, I've been, baptized in the duck water before, but not like that. Oh my goodness. I know. And him talking about those two boys that died.
They died.
Right.
That was just nuts. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So those stood out to me because that was just insane.
Yeah, Jim's story, I thought he did a good job of telling the story.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just saying, like, I'm sitting there, like, looking at him like, did you get shot in the face?
Yeah,
and I
looking
never
for
knew
the
it.
scar.
Yeah, and then he said he put his hands down and he wasn't shot. But, man, not being exposed to a lot of duck hunting last year when I was hunting, man, it's the same way with squirrel hunting with 4 or 5 people. Man, when you got that many people with guns, with moving targets, like, gun safety is a big deal.
Really big deal.
Big deal, yeah.
I take
remember,
it seriously.
Oh, you got to, and you got to make sure everybody around you does too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so Bear and his buddies are starting to do some squirrel hunting and stuff on their own, and they even went duck hunting on their own the other day.
Yeah,
Good.
they
And
All right.
I told Bear and one of the other leaders of the crew, I said, hey, you guys have got to absolutely, like, cram it down these other guys' throats about gun safety. And I have a little spiel I do where I grab an empty shotgun and give them every possible way that you could point that gun at your buddy and not realize you did. Like when you pull your gun down and drop it to your waist and then turn around and point at everyone in the hole, and then talking about shooting up.
Yep.
How when you're shooting up at a squirrel or something, you often come down with a gun off safety and loaded, and then where's everybody else at? But anyway, yeah, I think about that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think the one that creeps up on people is when a dog is out there working,
Yep.
you put your gun on the tree. Because
Got to watch
Yep.
that.
the ducks come in, everybody shoots, and then there's a cripple, and people start shooting at the cripple, and the duck dog takes off, and things get bad quick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
We're all animal lovers here.
That's
when
right.
it comes to our pups.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
probably some of my greatest memories on the duck story part. Hunting with my dogs over the years. I know, Kayle, you mentioned that. One that comes to mind, I had a dog. His name was Boomer, another black lab. And he had throat cancer. And, we knew we only had a little bit of time left with him. And Joe and I were dating at the time, and Joe was really attached to this dog, too. I mean, we loved him to death. And we said, okay, we can't take him out in the morning. He doesn't have the energy, but we want to take him on one more hunt. And we go out there in the afternoon. It warmed up a little bit. Nothing flying. Joe and I are just sitting there. I have a picture of Joe with his arm around him in the duck blind, and they're just sitting there looking at the sky, just having a good time. And I'm sitting there thinking, this is a memory, He's not going to get his last duck probably, but at least we got to go out here with him. But Joe ended up killing one mallard. Mm-hmm. And Boomer went out and got it and brought it back. And then he died. Yeah.
His last hunt.
Last time, last retrieve. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty special.
Cool.
Yeah.
I probably should have had you tell your favorite story while you were telling which story you liked. Usually this is what we do, Kayle. I ask people what part of the podcast they like. Did
Yeah.
one of those stories stand out to you?
I would say all of them that they mentioned, but the one that stood out to me most was Jimbo.
Mm-hmm.
And it relates back to anybody that comes to our shooting lodge or my shooting lodge. Gun safety is the first thing that we teach, and I have a ton of people that come to get better at duck hunting. And I always tell them before they leave, like gun knowledge is gun safety, right? So knowing where your gun is pointed at, knowing how that gun operates, knowing where your safety's at, knowing your environment that you're in, who's got the dog, is the dog working, you know, and it just brought back those. I've never been in that situation, but it brought back those teaching moments that I've had for people, because you can never be too safe when you're hunting, especially with a bunch of people, or especially with somebody who's never been before. They don't know any better. They could just be sitting here talking to you thinking everything's safe, but it's pointed right at Misty, or you know, it's just that really stood out to me, and it's one of the things that I stress every single shooting lesson that I do.
Yeah. Hey, before we leave, y'all help me remember we need Kayle to tell us about her lodge and what she's doing. But tell me we'll go back this direction. Tell me Brent, what was your favorite? Hold on, Kayle. Brent, which one of those was your favorite one? Let me tell mine. Okay, great. Thanks, Brent. My favorite one was, I like the duck retrieve story that Jimbo told.
Yeah.
That
about
was pretty
Katie.
cool. Yeah, I
Yeah,
just thought
his lab.
the way he told it too. I just like hearing Jim Ronquist talk.
Yep.
Which one stood out to you, Brent?
Oh, let's see. I like the P-row story.
Yeah.
Because I have a P-row, and really about the only difference in a P-row and a submarine is the way you spell it. They both gonna wind up on the bottom before it's over with.
Yeah.
But they are handy when you can keep water out of them.
Yeah, that was a good story.
But
Trolling motor going around in circles. Thought it was a gator.
the direct drive thing, yeah. And shearing a motor in a pen, come on, that's a rookie mistake. You got to tote a pocket full of little.
Jim Stinson, he was 19 years old.
I
man.
know, but you got to tote the
I
pocket
bet he
full of
does
nails.
now.
Oh,
I would.
Yeah.
oh, I could talk. Jim was such a neat guy. Like, he didn't know. I don't think he's ever listened to a podcast before. He wouldn't have known anything about this podcast. And we just showed up at his office, and I just said, "Tell me your favorite duck story." And he just started talking, and he told me like 3 all in a row, and I trimmed him up. But he was a neat.
Well, if I
guy.
could add one other thing, it was the stuff about Mr. Alvin.
Yeah. I figured you were going to get into that.
Yeah, Mr. Alvin Taylor and I were very close friends, and I was talking to Amy on the way up here today, and I said I'm coming. What I told her what we were doing, and I asked her. Amy's my oldest daughter. She's 34 now, and I asked her 31, and I asked her about Mr. Alvin, and she said, "Oh, Daddy, I have such fond memories." When she was probably 5 or 6, of just sitting on a stool in there in his shop while me and Mr. Alvin worked on duck calls, and she said she could smell the wood when he was turning the wood, the Coca-Cola and stuff in there. But he was a pretty cool cat. A lot of funny
Hey, pick
stories.
up that duck call. Austin, would you have known the name Alvin Taylor?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's pretty. So
This one?
Talk to him about the what you told me about the shape of that.
Oh, the shape
So
of
he's
it.
got an acrylic duck call, which I would have. Yeah, it looks just like a piece of plastic. Except
I remember going in there. This is the first call I ever got from him, and he was looking at it. He said, "What is that call right there?" He says, "Do you know how to hold and blow a duck call?" I'm like, "Yes, sir, I know how." He said, "Well, if you were going to show somebody, what's the best way you could tell them how to hold this duck call? The way you put it up to your mouth and blow on it." And I said, "Well, I don't know." He said, "Well, look at it now." I said, "Oh, it looks like a Coke bottle."
That's right.
He said, "That's the way." So when you take a sip out of a Coke bottle, that's the way you put air.
So,
into the
but
duck
he,
call.
it looks like he made that. I mean, not all duck calls look quite as much like a Coke bottle as that.
No,
Am I
but
right?
that's correct. But that's what he was after when he made this design right here.
Looks like a Coke bottle.
It looks like the top of a Coke bottle, and that's the way you would sip out of a Coke bottle is the way you put air into it.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's it.
Yeah, so he's got 3 Alvin Taylor. They even got his name on them. They say Alvin Taylor 4.
Yep, Mr. Alvin signed off. That's just a few that I brought up here, but I've got several of them. They're all really special. It's a pretty good pile of money laying right there.
Yeah.
His calls are expensive. I've seen them on eBay before.
Yeah, $600, $700, $800.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Cool. Kayle, favorite duck story just of your stories.
So I have a nickname in our little duck hunting community, and it's called Beaver Run. So we just like Anne-Marie here,
Somebody's
I'm
hat's fixing to get wet.
familiar with the baptism of being
There it is.
in duck hunting. So every year, I kind of have two, but this is just like an ongoing memory because it happens every year, at least 4 or 5 times. So where we hunt is flooded cypress, and it's behind our house, and there are just beaver runs everywhere. And for the longest time, I was the duck dog. So my dad and all his buddies would kill them, and they'd go and they say, Kayle. So I'd go out there and I'd go get the duck and bring it back. And every time I would find a beaver run and just whoop, there I went, and it would just be up to my chest, and I'd be soaking wet and freezing, and it was just miserable. It went on for years. So I was like, I'm tired of this. I'm going to get a dog. So I got my first dog about 4 years ago, Max, the yellow lab. And I thought, finally, like I don't have to go out there in the beaver runs and fall under. So I get this dog, send him to college. He gets all educated. He's supposed to be great, this new best thing. Bring him on his first duck hunt, and I'm trying to set up his stand in the tree. And I swear, if it's not a 2-foot radius, that I fall 4 times because I'm messing with the dog, and it just continues to happen. So it's an ongoing memory
So
that
you
is
got the
added
dog,
to.
but you still falling
down,
runs.
and yeah. So, and then I would say my best memory with duck hunting is my very first duck hunt I went on with my dad. My grandpa and him built this duck blind out behind our house, and I just begged and begged and begged to go with him for years. He's finally like, all right, you can hold a gun. You're old enough. Let's go. And he had bought me for Christmas duck house shoes. They were mallard house shoes. They had a little duck on them, and I was just obsessed with them. And I thought that's what I should wear in the duck blind.
Of course.
It was freezing cold. It was probably 20 degrees outside, which is cold for a kid. And I have these mallard house shoes on, and I'm sitting in the duck blind, and it's just, ducks are everywhere, it's hit or miss at home. And I just remember sitting with my dad. We had a heater. He had made coffee and homemade biscuits, and I had my duck mallard shoes on, and just, I don't think I killed a duck that year, but it was just going with my dad and my grandpa and the duck blind he got and my mallard house shoes. So
Nice.
Amazing.
Nice. Good. Anne-Marie,
Can I go
favorite
again?
duck story.
All right, I know I jumped the gun on the dog earlier, but it seemed like the good segue.
Oh, it was great.
It was good. It was.
Oh,
I thought it,
so that
yeah.
was your story.
No, that was one of them.
Okay, one of them.
I came with multiple.
I thought it was great.
Yeah. So, similar to Kayle, grew up going duck hunting with my dad and my brothers. And getting all dressed up, I can distinctively remember the smell of chapstick, hot chocolate, and honey buns. I know that's a weird combination, but that and, just getting zipped up in my coveralls, and I would sit on a dog stand and just watch. And I thought it was the coolest thing ever. It was like sitting back to watch, I don't know, the Razorbacks play in my mind as a little girl, was watching all these ducks come in and everyone get their limit, and then going back to school on Monday saying, we got our limit this weekend. Like it was a really big deal. So that's pretty special. Mm-hmm. Another really fun memory. Another one.
There's some cool pictures of you when you were a little girl.
Yeah,
at
you've
your
seen
duck
them.
camp. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Holding all the ducks. Oh, there's some gap balls in there. It's real
Duck
special.
hunters are good, Misty, at taking pictures and documenting.
Yes.
For real. Like any duck camp you go to is going to have just a lot of real photographs on the wall. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they really do.
So that was pretty special. And then when Joe and I first started dating, back when we were in high school, going out, and water was froze up that morning, and we said, okay, we're going to go on an afternoon hunt. So we go out, and we don't think we're going to kill anything. We end up with our limited ducks in like 15 minutes, and we just started dating. We were high-fiving. I mean, did we just become best friends?
Joe was like, hey, this might
You
work.
want to do karate?
This girl knows how to duck hunt.
So that was really special.
Ready to win Mother's Day and cement your reputation as the best gift giver in the family? Give the moms in your life an Aura digital picture frame preloaded with decades of family photos. She'll love looking back on these memories and seeing what you're up to today. Even better, with unlimited storage and an easy-to-use app, you can keep updating mom's frame with new photos, so it's the gift that keeps on giving. And this is not a joke. Juju Newcomb has an Aura frame
and we share photos, and they're incredible. Also, my mother-in-law has one. We have them. They truly are really good, really high quality. The Aura frame is easy to set up. It takes just 2 minutes to set up a frame using the Aura app. It also adjusts the display depending on light levels in the room to maintain the true color of your photos. For real, the digital screen is amazing. Right now, Aura has a great deal for Mother's Day. Listeners can save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $30 off plus free shipping on their best-selling frame when you use code BEAR, B-E-A-R, BEAR. That's auraframes.com. Use code BEAR at checkout to save. Terms and conditions apply. Sport Dog is the most recognized brand in the hunting dog training industry. Born in 2003 in Knoxville, Tennessee, Sport Dog was forged by a passionate group of hunters and dog trainers who intimately understood the challenges of the field and the special connection between hunters and their dogs. The people at Sport Dog know that having a well-trained hunting dog is more than just having a reliable partner. It's a commitment to their safety and unlocking their full potential. The Sport Dog promise to customers is simple: gear the way you design it. Every product Sport Dog builds is meticulously designed and rigorously tested in the field, ensuring it withstands the toughest conditions you and your dog may encounter. Trust Sport Dog, where innovation meets passion, to elevate your hunting experience and strengthen the bond with your local companion. Using tracking equipment on my squirrel and coon dogs is extremely important to me. To track my squirrel dogs and my one old coon dog that's not very good. Get 20% off your first purchase using the code BEARGREASE. Go to www.sportdog.com/beargrease to learn more. The old timers say that the turkeys start gobbling when the leaves are as big as squirrels' ears and the red buds start popping. And we're about there. And we are there in the South. The onX Hunt app is one of my most valuable tools in the spring woods. With tools like coniferous versus deciduous tree distribution layer, you can save time by locating edges or transition areas of mixing habitats from home. Find an area like this with water in close proximity, and more than likely, there will be a gobbling turkey nearby. Knowing the exact boundaries of private ground ensures I stay on the right side of the fence, but can easily find public ground to go see if I can't strike a gobbler. If you do get one to sound off, using compass mode and waypoints will help you pinpoint his exact location, allowing you to move in and make the perfect setup to bring him right into your lap. Download the onX Hunt app today. You'll be glad you did. onX has a special offer for you. Use code BEARGREASE to receive 20% off your membership at onxmaps.com/hunt this spring. Mr. Booth, duck story.
So like a lot of duck hunters, I started duck hunting for one reason, and it had nothing to do with ducks. It was because of my dad. And I went not just so I could see ducks, but so I could see my dad in his element. And I probably duck hunted, I don't know, when I was 6 or so 30 years ago. And, I remember the exact things we used to get at the gas station. 20-ounce bottles of Coca-Cola, peanuts that we put down in the Coke bottles, Austin cheese and peanut butter crackers, and some honey buns. And so that was just a ball for me to get to hang out with my dad that much and be in pursuit of something together. Mm-hmm. Well, the week before last, my 9-year-old killed her first duck, and she had gone and shot with Kayle.
She did
the day before, and she's 9, and I tried to get her to use the 870 that I'd learned to shoot, and I think it's a little bit too heavy for her.
We downgraded a little to the 410 I started shooting. We put her at a 410, and she hit a bunch of clay targets. Yeah.
And then we went up the next morning in flooded green timber, and I told her, I said, now, you've never seen ducks work like this before. I said, when the first group comes in, I don't want you to shoot. I just want you to drink it up. And you just watch them come in. That way, when the second group comes in, you'll have a frame of reference for what your shot looks like. And, she's 9. She's sitting on a dog stand, and she's doing so good. She's not whining. She's not cold. She's not fidgeting. She's quiet. She's just drinking it up. And that first group comes in, and it's textbook. They read the script textbook. And
Now, was anybody else shooting, or did y'all let them light?
It was me and 2 other adults. We didn't let them land, but we shot them when we were supposed to, and it was perfect. And as soon as the gun silence dies off, or the gun noise dies off, she just squeals. She goes, "That was amazing!" And then the next group that came in had a little bit more light now, so it's easier for her to shoot. She put up a 28 gauge semi-automatic, and it was a green head that was the first one in the hole, and he's sitting there fluttering. And she picked that gun up, pulled the trigger, and he dropped.
Oh, man.
Oh, that's
And
great.
there were 3 adults in the hole, and there was not a dry eye.
Oh.
Aw.
And
get
so,
me now.
so being 36 years in advance of what I enjoyed so much, now sharing it with her just meant the world to me.
Yeah. Cool, man. That's great. Misty, duck hunters are sentimental, too.
I like the role that I'm playing in today's podcast. I'm like the uneducated person over here who needs Clay to kind of fill in. Like I appreciate that. But I am uneducated when it comes to duck hunting. I've never been before. My favorite duck story is that Amory has invited me to go with her.
Never been
It's happening.
before.
I've never been before.
We get this whole crew that's in here, studio audience and all.
No, Amory's invited me to go with her.
Yes, I
And so
know.
I'm super excited about it. Mainly, I want to cook a duck. Like I used Clay's suggestion last time, and it was no good. So I have done some research. And I told Bear, I said, hey, our son Bear, I mean, kind of went out. He enjoyed duck hunting with Clay last year, and he and some buddies decided that they thought they found a duck hole up here, which was a long shot. And anyway, but they went out, and I told them, if you get a duck, I've got recipes, and we'll have a big party tonight. So and I also, the other thing, I would like for Kaylee to show me how to shoot. Do you think she can fix my
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah.
right eye dominance problem?
Yes.
Because
left
you're
eye
gonna shoot.
dominant.
You're gonna shoot with both eyes open. when she
Yeah.
fishes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You need to come see me.
Yeah,
I'll fix
I'm
you up
listening
before
to
you go
this.
on your duck
Yeah,
hunt.
Yeah, I'd like
Yeah,
to.
we need to do that.
Yeah.
I'd
So,
like to-
Missy, my daughter is right-handed but left eye dominant.
is she okay?
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah, it is tough. It is tough, and I didn't know I was until Brent Reeves told me this is a problem.
Yeah,
Clay told
that
me
was
to
during bear
I
camp.
think being left eye dominant and being a right hand shooter is kind of like having like food allergies that aren't real.
Oh, stop! Listen,
You know
this
what I
guy.
That's an outrageous statement.
I have no idea.
This guy, when he gets when Clay doesn't have a lot of tolerance for weakness. I'll just tell y'all that, okay? He's a
This is
fantastic.
untrue.
He's a fantastic husband, excellent father. But like people come in and say that they're gluten free or they're this or that, and Clay's like, probably not. That's not true. And it's like, well, he's got celiac
Like, no, you're not.
disease.
I
It
did
is
that
not-
today. I don't
yeah.
think you are.
Yes.
Rub some dirt on it. It'll
But
be
you
all
should
right.
see him when he gets a cold. I mean, it's like it doesn't
the man
happen very
cold.
often, but when it happens, he's out. I mean, completely 5
Yeah,
days
once
and
every
he's gone.
25 years I get a cold.
I've got stories, y'all. I've got stories about Clay. but I will
okay,
not
okay.
share. I will not
Moving
share.
on.
I was not allowed to even give an introduction today.
Back to my original point, duck hunters are very sentimental people. And that comes back to, I thought Scott Harness, he did a good job of describing something that from the outside, when you become a duck hunter, like I have become, it is an incredible amount of work very early in the morning, very cold, very wet, very, like, for real. Sometimes it's like, wow, this is a lot of work.
And a lot of
And-
emails.
A lot of
lot of
emails.
A lot of
Very-
email chains.
Lot of
Nice.
emails to go through.
You are
And-
invited back.
and what Scott described to me, and he kind of said it on his story, was that there's so much surface area for human interaction, but also interaction with boats, trucks, dogs, shotguns, ducks, and waterfowl.
Yeah.
Like there's there are a lot simpler things that you could do in an outdoor space that would just be like, hey, let's like grab a shotgun and like walk through the woods and still hunt squirrels. I mean, just as an example, like that's pretty simple.
Yep.
Duck hunting is not simple, but it's also rarely does someone go duck hunt by themselves. Like you definitely can, and people do, but generally, I mean, I would say the vast majority of duck hunting is totally about the people that you're with. It really is.
It's a social endeavor.
It really is. And so it really is a unique culture, but it has a lot of surface area for stuff to go wrong. That's kind of what Scott was saying, was that there's a lot of surface area for stuff to go wrong, for wild stuff to happen, and he was saying that duck hunters are story collectors. They're not really after ducks. Like if you're a deer hunter, like you're really trying to kill a deer, and a lot of times the success really might be whether you killed one or not.
And you're alone most of the time too.
So it's
Deer
a
hunting.
solo.
Yeah.
It's pretty much a solo endeavor, and but duck hunting.
Yeah, I think you can hear that in all their stories. I always say there's like an inverse relationship between the amount of snacks that our kids get and their passion for hunting. And so Bear and Clay will go hunting, and it's like, y'all going to fast for 3 days, and here's a can of sardines, like, you know, Clay. But then if he'll take one of our girls.
Are you saying because Bear is a passionate hunter?
Yeah,
Like
there's an inverse. Yeah, no
have
snacks,
much.
no quality snacks.
Gotcha.
There's another one that gets like, you know, it's like going to a candy shop every time they go hunting. But I appreciate these stories. I think it's like, y'all's stories are, especially for someone who hasn't grown up in that world, in the duck hunting world, your stories, all of you had several honey bun mentions, some biscuits, homemade biscuits. You know, I think that there is something about the food and the socialization aspect of it, and bringing your kids and having that multi-generational experience.
Yeah, it's major.
Yeah, it's you can
And the
hear
whole
it.
duck camp, like that's something that I missed out on because Gary Newcomb was such a diehard bow hunter.
Mm-hmm.
Like we didn't really want to have a big camp. I mean, just he'd say it today, and that's what's cool about duck hunting. And it's also what's cool about me not really knowing much about duck hunting until I was an adult that I think makes me value it. And
Yeah. And the emails that come along with
and
it.
those emails, man. Boy, I get those duck emails from Luke Naylor.
You know, duck season's only 60 days, and deer season, you've got this bigger span to do
Yeah.
it.
That's true.
From
It's
September.
more concentrated.
Yeah.
Like you get 60 days and guys hit it hard.
And they do. It's amazing how people are so obsessed with it and the idea of duck camp. And you think about it, you're like, wow, it goes by so quick.
Yeah, and you can't miss a day of it. You got to go because the day may be the day.
That's right.
That's
it
right.
might be the
Oh,
day.
Yeah.
You can't
think-
kill them from the couch.
I think duck hunting too, that outweighs them any other hunt is, or any other hunting is, it kind of after season still carries on through the rest of the year because you have dogs that you're training and working and preparing for the next season, and it's just, I think it sets itself apart from deer
Yeah.
hunting or anything
Yeah.
like that.
So
yeah,
true.
year-round thing. Yeah. Cool. Kaylee, tell me about your business. And I asked her before the podcast, I said, is your shooting how you make a living and what you do? So, yeah, tell me
Yeah.
what you do.
So my full-time job is athlete on Team USA. So with that, I opened up a shooting lodge called Cypress Creek Shooting Lodge. It's out in Greenbrier. And it's basically a place where it's a training facility. It's a place where you can come and learn how to kill ducks. You can learn how to clay target shoot. You can try
Squirrels?
some squirrels, whatever. We don't discriminate.
I could probably put on a clinic.
Yeah, you probably could.
What
You
not
kept
to
bringing
do?
the story.
Yeah. So yeah, I have a training facility there that I love to coach the younger generation and just get them involved, because shooting is one of those things that if you're not the best athlete, if you're not a football star, basketball star, whatever, you can pick up a gun and I can probably get you to be as good as you want to go with it. So have the shooting lodge there out in Greenbrier, and we have every clay target discipline that you could shoot. There's a bunch of different disciplines: sporting clays, Olympic trap, American trap, whatever. So
And so how would they get your services?
So
Like,
they can go
book is it like a couple hour thing, or is it something where
however long. Anne-Marie's been out a couple times. Austin's been out. His family, Joe's been out. But you can go to cypresscreekshooting.com, and there's a whole lot of information on that, or send us an email at booking@cypresscreekshooting.com. Either one.
Nice.
I want to do a plug for people who may want to get into duck hunting, and that is go visit someone like Kayle or a game and fish shooting range and shoot a gun first before you go out.
Yes.
And we have instructors at all of our game and fish facilities, and obviously Cypress Creek. That's where I go. I love it. Oh my gosh, Kaylee straightened me out a ton. But go and learn the proper way to do it, just like Austin did with his daughter. And you enjoy the experience so much more, because I remember the first time I ever shot a shotgun, it was like, oh, here, your brother's done this. You've seen it enough. Shoot it. And I shot it, and, it just about knocked me down, and it kind of scared me. And I was afraid to shoot a shotgun for a while.
Yeah.
So I wish that I'd done, the proper outlets to do it. So it's incredibly important. It makes things more enjoyable.
Yeah, know how to shoot. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, I've got a lot of questions about shooting.
I know I'm super curious because Anne-Marie, you're a seasoned hunter, and you're improving as a result of going to Kayle.
Yes.
So she's able to help, and then Austin's daughter is a brand new. That's kind of fascinating to me that.
So earlier we were talking about eye dominance.
Uh-huh.
I'm left-handed. I shot right-handed did just get real. I shot right-handed forever because that's what my dad and my brothers did. I thought, okay, they shoot right-handed. That's what I'm going to shoot. I was out at the range one day shooting trap with somebody, and I go, yeah, kind of got to work on it a little bit. And he goes, well, what eye dominance are you? I said, well, I don't really know. I think I'm right eye. Did the test, left eye dominant. Started shooting left-handed, made the biggest difference in the world.
Yeah, how interesting.
Now, are you
is.
left-handed?
I'm left-handed.
Okay, so
but I do some things right-handed. So this is back in, 2015. So I'd gone a majority of my life just shooting right-handed and just kind of figuring it out, adjusting to it, and, get some decent shots. And then in the past few years, I'm like, I feel like I could do some brushing up and improve even more.
Yeah.
I was a fine shot. I
Yeah.
could go out and have a good duck hunt, but I want to be better. So I went and
That's so interesting.
my shell bill has been cut in half. It's great.
Really?
Yeah.
Never thought of it as a financial move.
It's an investment.
It is.
Yeah.
Shotgun shells are expensive.
Kayle, at the highest levels of competitive shooting, how much of it is natural talent and how much of it is years and decades of
That's a great question.
training?
So at my level, it becomes how much work you're going to put into it. After you learn the fundamentals of the game, it all becomes mental. And it's for example, at the Olympics, I'd never been on that stage. I was competing against a girl who is a 3-time Olympic medalist. This was her 4th Olympics. She's seen that platform before.
Yeah.
So she beat me.
her?
She beat me by one target. She got gold by one. But at that level, one target doesn't define. In my
Wow, she beats you by one target.
One target, yeah. It
Wow.
doesn't define if she's a better shot or if I'm a better shot. It's the stage that you're on. So at that level, it's just who's going to outwork who.
I bet you could have beat her up.
She's pretty mean. She wears a do-rag and she's like, man.
Where was she from?
She's
You're
from
gold in our
Slovakia.
hearts.
Oh, okay.
So, but she's the sweetest person.
okay.
She speaks like 17 languages. She's a very
Wow.
cool girl. Yeah, she's really cool.
So the much of the shooting is but you've got to be naturally really talented though.
The biggest part in shooting is learning how to use your eyes, and anybody can learn that. Whether you're right eye dominant, left eye dominant, right-handed, left-handed, that doesn't matter when it comes down to it. It's how you learn to use your eyes. So if I were to take you out and a big flock of ducks come in, and I say, hey, Clay, what did you see on those ducks? You'd be like, I don't know, I saw 30 or 40 ducks. I can see the green around its neck. I can pick out a detail on that duck, and that's what separates what I'm going to shoot versus what you're going to shoot. So it's just really learning how to use what you have.
I remember
Oh,
a guy
interesting.
one time it was some type of training instructional video saying that he was trying to count the wing flaps of crows when they're just like, and I think about that a lot. I don't do it very often, but Yeah, that's interesting. So
Yeah.
it's all about
It's about detail. Like when Anne-Marie comes down, I make her pick out a detail on the clay target that we're shooting, whether that be the center dome or the ridges
Really?
that's on the clay target or the black rim. Because if she's looking at a whole picture, her sight is going to be a little bit different. Her aim's going to be a little bit different. If she might be a little left, and because she's seeing the whole picture, she's going to say, I feel like I was right on it. But if you hone in on the detail, now we can say, okay.
So what do you look at when you shoot a clay pigeon?
I'm trying to see detail, whether that's a light spot on it from the sun, whether that's a shadow, just any kind of detail that I
Really?
can pick out on it.
Aim
Yeah.
small, miss small.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like a therapy lesson when you go out there talking with her and her dad and figuring it all out. And once we did that and I realized, okay, I've been using my eyes wrong for this long, you start knocking them down.
Yeah.
And it's so much more
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
if I was going to toss my phone to you and say, hey, catch this, I throw it up, the first thing that you're going to look for is your eyes are going to look for it and your hands are going to know where to go. Shooting is the same concept. It parallels with your hand-eye coordination there.
Interesting.
You're ready, Misty.
You think I'm ready?
You're ready, girl.
I don't want him around because he doesn't believe that I have a condition.
We've been over this. He doesn't believe in conditions. But when he gets a cold, it's on.
I'm just
I have a
kidding.
feeling your shooting, learning that would. There's a guy. I don't know him well, but there's a guy that does some traditional archery bow hunting classes, and most of his stuff is about mental understanding of shot sequence. His name's Joel Turner. He seems like a good guy. I don't know him, but he talks about like he's talking about traditional archery where you don't have sights like would be with a gun.
Yeah.
And he talks a lot about sequence and knowing what you're going to do before you shoot.
Yep.
And it kind of makes you, when you hear him talk, you go, yeah, I guess I'm just kind of guessing a lot.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, it works good for squirrels when they're a long ways away and you just keep shooting, guessing. Okay. Great. Well, that was, man, I've like throw
supposed
up
to be
like
funny?
multiple bad jokes that I
I'm
was
so
looking for
sorry.
a little
Maybe
more.
it's the studio audience today. We're all a little
Joe.
more
Yeah,
critical.
they've been kinda
of-
quiet.
Give me a laugh.
I mean, I was my whole thing about let the squirrels get far away and just kind of you have a little more room for guessing where to aim.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm impressed with the knowledge that I have no doubt that you have and could impart to people with just a little bit of training.
Thank you.
My grandfather was there's a picture of him. Where is it at? Where's the picture of Pat?
It used to be right there.
Where is that? Oh, right there. Yeah, I grew up shooting skeet with him, and he's a bird dog man, and we shot skeet for all the time with cotton in our ears. It's probably the reason I'm deaf. But he always talked about blacking them out and follow through.
Yeah.
Like those are the main things he talked about was blacking them out and then follow through. Like if you're moving through a bird, just keep moving. But that's about as technical as we got.
Yeah.
But
On ducks,
Yeah.
it's shoot where the corn goes in, not where the corn goes out.
And as his attorney, I'd just like to clarify for the record that he is not.
Yeah, that took me a minute.
As my attorney.
Is that a confession?
He is not implying in any way that he duck hunts over corn.
Correct.
yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, does that work? Yeah.
I
Plays
saw
like
it
a
on
dude
TV.
that's illegal.
I saw it on TV.
Yeah.
Well, hey, thank you, Austin, director of the Game and Fish,
Absolutely.
for being here. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Anne Marie, thank you for coming.
You bet. Thanks
We're
for
gonna
having
take
me.
you up. I told Misty I wanted to take her back down there.
Come on. It sounds like we're
I'm
going to make
pumped.
something work like in
Yeah.
the next
You
week
gonna
or
come,
so.
Austin?
He's
Yes.
invited.
I had a request.
Oh, okay.
Since I've been listening to this podcast, I hear about this gentleman sitting next to me that used to guide on Biomeda when you still could. I kind of want to hear the man duck call.
He guides still today.
There's not near as much pressure. It's like hunting
That was
before
a joke.
season.
That was a joke.
I got it.
That was a
I
joke.
got it. I see
Yeah,
what
that
you're
was a
doing
joke.
there.
Here's
Okay, this is Alvin Taylor.
Here's an Alvin Taylor call. He made this for me in 1996. It'll make him
Well-
cry.
That's what I'm
Well
talking
done.
about.
Let's hear your call, Austin. Let's hear your call. What kind of calls you running?
So I've got 2 separate kinds. I've got 2 cut-down calls, and then I've got 3 cut-down calls, and then 2 J-frames.
Okay.
Which that's just those are just different kinds. What Brent blew was a J-frame. So I'll try to blow one of these cut-downs, and y'all can hear the difference.
No, it will be louder.
Yes,
Keep,
it'll be
yeah,
louder.
keep your mic up like that if you can.
It'll be louder and raspier.
Okay.
Here they
Yeah,
go.
it's kind of it's got a little more meat to it, doesn't it?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Rasp volume.
Yeah. Excellent.
Good job.
Well, heck, if we're blowing duck calls.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Clay, where's your
Come
duck
on,
call?
Clay.
Okay, this is I got this one from Jim Stinson the other day.
Good.
And I tell you what he did with me is he was trying to teach me how to just make one quack. And he wouldn't let me blow it more than once. And he said pretend like you're blowing
That's not
out
a
a
good sign.
candle. He said pretend like you're blowing out a candle but you're closing your lips, like going so he said and then he had me do that like 20 times, and he would every single time I did it, he'd go, nope, yep, nope, yep, nope, yep.
Man, pressure.
Yeah, it was like intense. And then he said, okay, do it twice. And I would go, and he'd go, nope, you missed it on the second one. But anyway, he just like marched me through it,
That's cool.
which was pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I left
But,
my duck
that's
calls
all
at
I got.
home. Yeah, oh.
Just quack. That's all it takes, boys. Quack.
Words of wisdom.
That's what was in the email, right?
Yeah, that's what they
Just
told
takes one blow.
Clado.
me. Yep.
The email jokes are getting a lot of laughs.
I am on
Things
the
we
email.
didn't expect to
and
talk about today.
I would like to bring up this gift that the Doramus brought me from a stop they made on the way to Northwest Arkansas. This is a Black Rifle, just like a 12-ounce pack of coffee, and it has a faux real Black Panther on the cover, and it's a Lava Panther Black Rifle Coffee Company.
It's a good blend.
Hashtag
Do
believer.
you know this blend?
They are one of my sponsors. So actually, if anybody would like Black Raffle savings, you can use my name, Kayle15, for 15% off.
Nice.
Of anything
Oh.
I sell.
Do they
So
have a
that-
picture of you like shooting something?
I
on one
cannot
of them?
confirm or deny.
Like a Black Panther?
No,
Okay.
they don't. They don't.
Oh man,
They
She
don't.
shot
That
a
would be
Black
very
Panther?
cool.
this is a big win for us. Lava Panther.
I thought it was
Incredible.
really special.
Kayle 15.
You know, Meat Eater's big in with there's a Meat Eater blend of
Yeah.
Black Rifle coffee.
Yeah, I've had it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
They're such a good sponsor. They ship stuff to the lodge all the time. So all we drink is Black Rifle. That's all I carry in the lodge as well. So
And they support
Nice.
veterans.
they do. I think it's
Better
don't
known.
quote me on this, but I want to say over half their company is veterans that
Yeah.
work there. So
Yeah. I think I've heard that too. Great. Well, Anne-Marie, did you see my Black Panther up there?
Oh, yeah. First thing I saw when I came in.
Mm-hmm. Finally got a
Special.
final resting place for him. He was kind of bouncing around the office, but I got him up there.
I don't know why he's not above the mantle in the house, but that's just me.
Yeah. Oh man. Yep. Well, thank you guys so much.
Thanks
you
for having us.
Thanks for
Yeah.
having us.
Yeah. Great stuff. And the next series of Bear Grease is gonna be incredible. That's all I can say.
Some good
I'm
stuff
kind of
coming up.
tired. Think I'll go home now.
What?
He's quoting Forrest Gump.
Have you ever seen the TV?
Not very often. This man does not like watching movies.
Hey, Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New
Happy
Year.
New
New Year.
All right. Great.
I'm sure a lot of you guys remember the old ceremonial hunting tradition of eating the heart out of the first animal you kill. Meat from those organs are among the most nutrient-rich foods on the planet. You can get those same benefits your ancestors craved via convenient daily capsules from Heart and Soil. Find out more at heartandsoil.co. And remember, use code MeatEater for 10% off your purchase.
Outdoor adventure won't wait for engine problems. Things like hard starts, rough performance, and lost fuel economy are often caused by fuel gum, and varnish buildup. Seafoam can help your engine run better and last longer. Simply pour a can in your gas tank. Hunters and anglers rely on Seafoam to keep their engines running the way it should the entire season. Pick up a can of Seafoam today at your local auto parts store or visit seafoamworks.com to learn more.